If you ever go camping alone, don't trust what you see in the distance because not everything in the woods wants to be found. And some things set up camp for you. I go camping alone a lot. Not because I hate people, I just like the silence. No cars, no screens, no one telling me what to do. Just me, the trees, and whatever's out there. I've done desert camping, mountain camping, even stealth camping near highways. But this one happened deep in the Appalachian woods, and I swear to you, I still don't understand what I saw out there. It was late September. The air was cool. The leaves were starting to turn. I hiked about 6 miles off trail, well beyond any campsites. I found a flat patch of earth between some large boulders and a stream. Perfect. I set up my tent, built a fire, made some instant noodles. It was quiet. No animals, no birds. A little odd, but I liked it. That night I fell asleep to the sound of water trickling and wind in the trees. Everything felt still, safe. That was the last night I'd ever feel safe in the woods. I woke up the next morning, stretched, and went to boil water for coffee. Then I saw it. It's a tent, not mine. Another one. About 30 meters downhill, just barely visible through the trees. Bright orange. Brand new. Problem is, it wasn't there the night before. I know that for a fact. I'm careful. I scan the area. If someone had set up that close to me, I would have seen them or heard them. But now in the daylight, there it was. And not a sound. I waited until mid-morning, hoping to see someone come out. Nothing. Around 11, I walked down slowly, trying not to spook whoever might be in there. I called out, "Oh, hey, didn't see you last night. Everything good?" No answer. I circled the tent. The zipper was closed. No footprints, no campfire, no gear. Just the tent. Then I noticed the material. It wasn't any brand I recognized. The fabric looked almost waxy, artificial in a weird way. I got close enough to touch it. Ice cold, even in the sun. That's when I heard the sound. Breathing. From inside the tent. I didn't wait. I turned and walked straight back to my site. Didn't run. Not yet. But my legs wanted to. I packed up. Fast. No way was I staying there another night. But the weird part, when I looked back toward the orange tent, it was gone. Just gone. No sound. No movement. No footprints. Nothing. I was completely alone again. Or at least that's what I thought. I hiked a few miles back toward the trail, but decided to camp just one more night. I figured I imagined it. Or maybe I was overtired. You start thinking weird stuff when you're alone long enough. That night, I camped on a ridge with a clear view of the valley. No trees, no tents, just stars. Around 2 a.m., I heard a zipper. Not mine. Then soft, slow footsteps outside my tent. I didn't breathe. Then I heard a voice. Faint. Wrong. Like it was mimicking human speech without knowing what it meant. It whispered, "You found me." I unzipped the tent just an inch and looked out with my flashlight. Nothing. But then I turned the light to the left, and it was there. The orange tent. Right next to mine, closer than it had ever been. And standing in front of it, something tall, with stretched skin and a wide, crooked smile. It had my backpack on. The zipper on the tent behind it started moving, slowly opening. I zipped my tent closed, grabbed my knife, and just waited. The breathing started again, this time right behind me, but I never turned around. When morning finally came, everything was gone. No tent, no creature, no sign anyone had been there. But my backpack, it was outside my tent, torn open, completely empty, except for a note, folded neatly inside. No handwriting, just a message burned into the paper. Next time, knock first. I never camped alone again. Story 2. If you're ever deep in the woods and someone calls your name, stop. Don't answer. Because if no one's with you, then something else is. This happened in 2022, during a solo backpacking trip through a section of national forest I won't name. I'd done this kind of thing for years, hiking alone, sleeping under the stars, going days without seeing anyone. It's peaceful. Clears my head. But this trip felt off from the beginning. Not dangerous. Just wrong. Like the trees were listening. I started early. Clear weather, packed light. The trail I picked wasn't popular. No cell service, no shelters, just wilderness. Exactly what I wanted. By afternoon, I was already 10 miles in. That night, I set up camp next to a river. I cooked dinner, watched the stars, and fell asleep to the sound of running water. At about 3 a.m., I woke up. No reason, just snapped awake. The fire was out. Everything was silent. Then I heard it, faint, from the trees across the river. Alex, that's my name. But I was completely alone. I froze. It wasn't a shout. It was soft, calm, like someone trying not to wake others. I got out of the tent slowly and scanned the woods with my headlamp. Nothing. Then again, from further downriver. Alex. Same tone. Same pacing. Too perfect. Like it was recorded. I called out, "Who's there?" Silence. Then one last whisper. "Found you." I packed my gear in record time and hiked 2 miles in the dark, flashlight shaking in my hands. By morning, I convinced myself I was overtired, sleep-deprived, maybe even dreaming. I kept hiking, deeper into the forest, trying to stay on my planned loop. Around midday, I found footprints on the trail. Not boot prints, bare feet, one set, no shoes, no pattern. Just deep, wet tracks heading the same direction as me. I picked up the pace. By nightfall, I found a clearing and set up camp, but I didn't light a fire. Didn't want anyone, or anything, knowing where I was. Still, I heard it again. Alex, right behind my tent this time. I didn't sleep. At one point, I peeked through the mesh flap of my tent. There was someone standing out there, not moving, just watching. But I couldn't see a face, only the silhouette. Too tall, too thin, arms hanging too low. Then, it spoke again. But this time, not just my name. It whispered my old address, my sister's name. Stuff I never told anyone out loud on this trip. That's when I realized this thing wasn't just following me. It knew me. I left the trail the next morning and bushwhacked toward where I thought the road would be. Got scratched up bad, ran low on water, but I didn't care. I needed out. By chance, I stumbled on an old moss-covered sign nailed to a tree. Half rotted, barely readable, but it said, "If it speaks like a man, run." Below it, someone had carved, "Don't respond, it learns." That night, I didn't bother with a tent. I found a rock outcrop and just sat with my knife and headlamp shaking. Around midnight, I heard it again, closer than ever. "Alex." Then clearer. "Come here. It's safe." Then, in my voice, "Hey, it's me." I turned my light on. It was standing at the edge of the trees, a thing wearing my face. My exact face. But its smile was wrong. Wide, crooked. Its skin was too smooth. No eyes, just black pits. And when it moved, it didn't blink. I didn't fight it. I didn't scream. I just ran. I sprinted through the forest, branches tearing at me until I finally saw headlights. A ranger's truck was coming down a service road. I ran into the middle of the road like a maniac. They picked me up, gave me water, drove me to the edge of the park. When I asked if anyone else had reported weird noises out there, the ranger said this: "That trail's closed for a reason. You weren't supposed to be there." I haven't been back since. I moved cities, changed jobs, but sometimes, late at night, I'll hear my name outside the window, soft, calm. Alex. Only thing is, I live on the 14th floor.
Story 3.
There's nothing worse than realizing you're not alone, except maybe realizing someone's been watching you the whole time and filming it. I was hiking solo in Northern Oregon, took a week off work, grabbed my pack, and went into a section of forest that barely shows up on GPS. It wasn't a trail, just open land, dense trees, rough terrain. My kind of peace. I wasn't running from anything. I wasn't searching for some deep spiritual meaning. I just wanted silence. But silence doesn't mean you're alone. And out there, I wasn't. First day was perfect. No cell service, but that was the point. I camped in a little pine grove with a small clearing, made a fire, read a book, passed out early. No sounds, no animals, no problems. I woke up around 6 a.m. to birds chirping and sun peeking through the trees. Then I noticed something odd. A little glint, like glass, about 10 feet off the ground on one of the trees nearby. I walked over, and there it was. A camera. It was small, camouflaged, bolted to the tree. Not like a nature cam. No markings, no straps. Just a hard plastic box, tucked into the bark. No flashing light, no battery pack, just there. I left it alone, but the hairs on my arm stood up. I moved camp that night. Further west, deeper in. Didn't want to be near someone else's setup. Except, I found another camera. Same height, same style. Pointed right at the spot I had just set up my tent in. The third camera is what did it. I found it the next morning. Same tree style, same building. But this one was pointed directly at where I had slept. And next to it, nailed into the tree, was a tiny metal tag with the date, last seen 5:06 a.m. That's when I knew. This wasn't wildlife monitoring, this wasn't park rangers. This was someone tracking me. And they knew exactly where I had been. I should have left. But I was angry, creeped out, and stupid. So I followed the trail backward, started checking other trees, looking for wiring, signs of battery packs, anything. Instead, I found something else. A circle of stones. Perfect shape. Inside it, a small black box. When I opened it, I found photos of me, sleeping, walking, looking straight at the camera. Every photo had a timestamp, but one of them was taken from inside my tent. That night I didn't sleep, didn't even set up camp. I climbed into a tree and stayed there, knife in hand, flashlight off. Around 2 a.m., I saw movement, down in the woods, flashlight beam, faint but steady. I held my breath. The beam passed right below me, then stopped and it pointed straight up at me, but there was no face. Just a mask, blank, featureless, white. The figure stood still for what felt like 10 minutes. Then it held up a camera and took a photo. I didn't wait. Jumped down. Ran. No gear, no bag. Just sprinted. I don't know how long I ran. At some point, I ended up on a gravel road. Flagged down a passing truck at dawn. Told them I was lost. Didn't mention the cameras. I came back with rangers the next day. We found nothing. No cameras, no footprints, no photos. Just my shredded tent and a new black box placed on top. Inside, one photo of me, taken that night. As I slept in the tree, I moved, changed numbers, got rid of social media. I haven't hiked alone since. But every once in a while, I'll get an anonymous email, no subject, no message, just an attachment. It's always a photo, grainy from a distance, of me, at work, on the street, in my apartment hallway, whoever's behind the camera. They never stopped watching. If you made it to the end, there's more waiting in the next video.